Hey, this is Paige Striker. This is my reflective journal number 2 for Education 525. Um, what I've learned this part of section of the class is, what stuck with me the most is the racial identity model of African Americans. While I was reading it, I personally noticed a lot of the stages in myself as far as like the pre-immersion. Growing up, I went to a predominantly white elementary school, predominantly white middle school, predominantly white high school, and a predominantly white college. So I kind of I don't want to say I was surrounded by the white culture, so it's like I guess I was assimilated to the white culture, and then the last semester of my junior year in college, the thing that's kind of perplexing me in this whole model is I think it's the encounter part, because I can't pinpoint a significant event or occurrence that happened that caused this change in me, because before I was fully happy with my immersion in white culture, and I did sometimes find myself stereotyping African Americans that I would see who would be doing some things that I didn't necessarily think positive of. And it's like at the time I didn't notice what I was doing, because like I said, I've been so used to being a part of this culture. Even though I was surrounded by other African Americans, they were also part of the same culture of assimilation in the white culture, that they did the same thing. And so my junior year in college, I can't pinpoint exactly an encounter. That's the part that's kind of perplexing me in this whole model. But for some reason, I decided that I was going to take an African American Studies class. And after I took that one class, I just became enlightened that there was a whole nother aspect of my heritage, of my culture, that I have been missing out of. Like, it's still a part of me, part of my history, and I had this strong sense to want to study it. So even though it was my junior year and my last semester of my junior year, and I was already a double major in English and psychology, I decided to pick up a minor, which was not required because I was a double major, and I minored in African American Studies. And by minoring in African American Studies, I can honestly say it was enlightening and self-discovery experience for myself. And I can see the immersion stages, because I felt like this whole pride in being African American. I felt like I understood the struggle of what the people, my ancestors had went through, just so that I could go to a predominantly white institution and get the education that I was getting. And it's like I felt guilty for, at one point in my life, not recognizing the struggle and not fully identifying with this part of my heritage. And so I fully immersed in these African American Studies classes, and I'll be with my friends, telling them all these facts that I was learning in class and just sharing with them, because like I said, all my friends, they were the same way as me. Even though they were African American, they also went to predominantly white institutions, so they were assimilated with that culture too, and they didn't really take a closer look or examine closer the struggle that comes with being an African American. And I guess I can say we took advantage of the fact that we were, accepted into this white culture, and that we had these opportunities to receive the education that we were receiving. And I don't know. I think right now in the model, I'm probably at this internalization stage where it's yes, I'm still very proud of my African American state heritage, and I'm still even though I'm not in my African American studies classes anymore, I'm still reaching for knowledge and trying to learn more about my past, and staying up in current events of what's going on, and still trying to be a part of whatever I can do to help minorities and civil rights. So it's but I don't feel any hatred or I don't know, mad towards my white counterparts either, because I personally have never like encountered a blatant like racism, and I guess I'm blessed because of that, because I know it's like a very painful thing to encounter, and I should knock on wood because it hasn't happened yet, but that's not saying it would ever happen in my life. So I don't like have any ill feelings towards my white counterparts, but I have a better understanding and better knowledge of my African American heritage, and it's like I want to continue to work to help people that are African American and minorities with what I'm doing now. Is the reason why I'm in this whole field, because I want to work with at-risk youth, and majority of at-risk youth are African Americans, and I just want to be able to go back and help my counterparts, and like, you know, even though they're like at risk, I want to show them that, you know, there's a other way, and that they too can take advantage of the privileges that I had by going to like the predominantly white institutions and getting my education. So reading this whole model and like having something to like match what I went through too, and see that it was normal, really helped. And it was good to like, you know, be able to place steps to it and understand that it was just me coming into grasp with my racial identity.